only had 10 days to make the film, and luckily enough, that was the first time I actually handed off my sound design to somebody else and just went, "All yours." And when it came back, there was just so many sounds that I didn't even think about, like rocks crushing. And I think giving it to someone who has an ear for it really helps.
Hmm.
I think that was one thing I learned from that project was to ask for help and have other people's opinions, where normally it's just like smash it out onto the next thing.
Yeah. I was an
Yeah.
assistant for a course on exploring digital media recently, earlier this year, and one of the assignments was adding sound to a muted 30-second clip of the film Ratatouille.
Hmm.
And getting, I think we had something like 40 students, maybe more than that, but watching all the submissions and seeing how many different sounds people think about when they're watching the film that I wouldn't even, as you said, have thought of. It's like, oh, his foot slipping on that thing would have made a sound kind of like that, but I didn't even, it's not something that I would have added right away. So it's always fun to hear that. And then there's the other end where we were just watching an episode of something, and I swear I've heard the same eagle sound in that short, and in just like Kev was saying on Instagram and elsewhere, at least 1,000 times. Like, where is everybody sourcing this eagle?
Yeah, I
There's like a
wonder.
library of
Yeah.
like crowd noises that they've been using, I think, since like the 50s or something. Like it's just been a consistent thing that you hear in like sitcoms. It's the same exact laugh track that's been like used for decades.
Yeah, that with the Wilhelm scream.
I was about to
Yeah,
jump
I
was
was
on
gonna
that.
say. Yeah.
Dude, I'm not a sound designer. But I imagine like, man, when I hear that scream, it it just takes me out of the film so much. Like I get, you're a sound designer, you waited your whole life to get the opportunity to put this in, but it just it pisses me off, man. I do not like that sound.
I know. It's so ubiquitous now too. It's in everything. It's become a meme itself.
Yeah. But sound design,
But
I mean, I definitely lean on it a lot, like especially after, to really bring a render to life. I think sound design can do a lot to make up for any lack of quality in the actual image. It's like, oh yeah, I feel like I'm there, stuff like that.
yeah, it adds a weight to it as you're watching it. It adds a sense, a whole level of reality to it. We were doing it early on, and it just became like our customers weren't asking for it anymore, so we're just like we started leaving it out. But it's like, yeah, it adds to it.
It really puts you in that space, like you were saying, Jacob. I could be misremembering, but I feel like there's a layer of ambient noise when you cut to the clip of the robot doing the flip and you're talking over it, and it just gives it even more realism to have that ambient noise. Without it, obviously, because I know that the robot wasn't there, or maybe I think that the robot wasn't actually there, but um, I feel like I would be even more drawn to the fact that this is a render if there wasn't a layer of ambient noise in that recording.
Hmm.
Or if you kind of
Yeah.
edited it out.
I think that's the thing
Sure,
with stuff
sure.
like that as well, is that it's even if you are aware that the subject was created for the space, if you believe the environment, then you've got like that immersion already.
It certainly
Mhm.
helps.
Soundtrack also makes a big impact. I've seen a classic example is some children's swings, just swinging backwards and forwards in the wind. You can put like 6 different types of music over the top of that scene, and you'll get completely different emotions out, all the way from like horror to joy. And it's
Yep.
amazing how, as you were saying earlier, that it's often something that's in the background and is not noticed unless it is bad.
Yeah.
And then it really
That's
sticks
true.
out.
Yeah, it sticks out like a sore
It
thumb. when
sticks out like
bad.
a sore thumb. It's
It's
Yeah.
like we all get decent microphones to record tutorials on because it makes a genuine difference to the listener. It does make a big difference. Not saying that you need a decent one, but you're already halfway there. If they're like, oh, this guy doesn't sound like he's talking into
right, underwater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
And and even because I've seen some tutorials ranging from really educational to not so much, and it really makes a difference just in my retention and also how long I want to keep watching. If the person's taken just the little bit of like the 6 minutes that it would take to watch the whole video and just remove all the like all the different bits where they're like cutting things together, just throw a dissolve in there. Just throw a dissolve.
Just
Yeah,
dissolve.
really helps.
Yeah.
Just dissolve it.
Yeah, I missed a dissolve in the last one. I'm kicking myself for it, but it doesn't seem to be making a difference out there, so I'm fine. But usually I'll do a cross dissolve on the sound or something.
As long as you don't get a
Might have
horrible pulsing through your audio.
Oh yeah, womp, 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 womp. Do have a side chain in there for
Dubstep in there as well.
Exactly.